The urgency for global education. What I'd like to talk about is, why do I think there is an urgent and critical need to flatten global education within the next 5 years? Because in reality, if we listen to everyone else and what they're doing in America and kind of what they're planning in India and Asia, global education is not going to be flattened in the next 5 years. It may be flattened in the next 10, 15, 20. I'm reading Kirk Bonk's book, The World is Open, and he puts out a number, I think 20 years. Here's the reality. We don't have 20 years. Now, why do I say we don't have 20 years? Because there is a global movement right now of individuals, very smart, very talented individuals who are heads of institutions and other organizations who believe that the next 20 years is going to make or break humanity. These are not radical crazies. These are down-to-earth scientists who are studying everything from global warming to population to resources to a huge number of variables that can impact our global economy and ultimately societies. And the reality is, if we don't get a handle on these, we're going to have problems. So, the urgency to flatten global education stems from the need to solve these problems. And I use this analogy that has often been used about why it's ridiculous to fly to Alpha Centauri. And it's ridiculous because, in reality, by the time we reach our nearest star, another spaceship that, launched 5 years later will get there that much sooner. So, my argument is that if we're looking to impact every social cause that we can imagine, or every problem that we have right now facing us, and we have some big ones potentially facing us, then the most logical course of action is to provide the education to everyone to contribute to solving these problems. I mean, it's not rocket science here. And think of it this way. If we had 1 billion engineers out of Asia dedicated to solving these issues, wouldn't we have a better chance of overcoming them? If we had the education means to reach everyone around the world, to educate them about birth control, hygiene, and proper food handling, and so on and so on, and birth, would we ultimately not solve a lot of these problems? I think so. And the reality is, if we have a critical need to address them within 20 years, I would argue that we better start talking about it and addressing the situation now, because if we like in Kirk's book, The World is Open, he talks about, probably within 20 years we'll have flat education. I would argue 20 years is too slow. I would argue that if we want to address these problems that are facing us, we really need to come up with a solution now and have something in place within 5 years. Now, I have a solution. I believe I'm the only one in the world right now with a viable, doable, very simple solution, and you can read about it. Just Google eSingularity Trout, and you'll see videos. If you put in India in there or China, you'll see the prospectus jump up. Now, these are prospectus. They're teasers that talks about, in general, what I want to do, not in specifics. And currently I'm writing a book called eSingularity, where I'm going to go into very great detail on the specifics. Now, we have an opportunity to actualize a flat global education, or an education system for everyone, within the next 5 years. And the cost to doing so is relatively cheap. You know, the solution I envision is going to be expensive, but expensive in relation to what? It will cost about the amount that it produces one Hollywood movie. It would cost less than 1/1000th of the revenue that global education produces. 62 billion, dollars. We're looking at a solution that will cost maybe as little as 150 million to no more than 300 million. I'm going to just double it. And if we compare that to what we spent for, the International Space Station, which is in excess of 25 billion, to, what we fund in education, again, billions. The reality is we can provide a very cheap, affordable tool that's going to allow everyone to study and learn and educate themselves. A personal education system. So there is an urgency for global education, an urgency that we have to take seriously. As our movement, the eRevolution movement, builds, and it is building, there's more and more people every day joining. We will reach our 1 million members. My goal is a year, but I hope it'll be sooner. And as a group, we will help drive global education. As a group, we will put the issue on agendas, put the issues on discussion, and create the opportunity for change. We have to make global education an urgent priority. And I'm looking to you as eRevolutionists to help that become a reality. Thank you. My name is Michael Trout. I am helping to produce the eSingularity by bringing together people from all over the world behind and bringing about eRevolution that's going to bring about the singularity. A moment when all learning is available to all. Allah.